Angelina Jolie, a successful actress, director, screenwriter, and fighter for women's rights, as well as a mother of 6 children. Until recently, she was also a Goodwill ambassador. Well, literally Mother Teresa, yes, perfect both internally and externally. But her path to the top was such that she could easily leave this world without even starring in the first film. To be honest, her story touched me to the depths of my soul, which does not happen often, and looking at her now, her past seems to me like some kind of horror, and I can't believe that she survived it all. Let's remember all the problems of the actress and find out how she created a new image in this issue. And a selection of iconic photos of a young Angelina Jolie is already waiting for you in my Telegram channel, and subscribe to my beauty Telegram channel, where you will find out how I, for example, painted for this issue. And subscribe to my Bull community. The girl was born in the family of actors Jon Voight and Marceline Bertrand. It is clear that Angie was not spared the profession of her parents, because already at a young age, and even before she consciously began to take steps in the direction of acting, she fulfilled the dream of many adult actors. She attended the Academy Awards. Angelina was only 11 years old when she accompanied her father, who was nominated that night, to the ceremony. Angie was then dressed in a snow-white lace dress, but this did not make her a typical angel. Coupled with the voluminous styling, this set a rebellious mood, which in principle was just about the girl, and reflected her real character, expressing yourself through clothes. Of course, everything is great, but with the onset of cold weather it becomes more difficult to do this, because the cold snap, passport weather personally do their job with me, and the inspiration to invent images becomes less. It seems that it's generally easier to wrap yourself in your old 5-year-old clothes and wait for spring calmly. But then I went to the mega market and realized that he had something to please us. Generous discounts on clothes, shoes, and accessories to update your autumn wardrobe and make it beautiful. I added to my favorites a few top new clothes for the fall. Sneakers with a fashionable animistic print, straight Calvin Klein jeans, a little office vibe with this shirt is also from Calvin Klein, and I'm also terribly sunk into the sole of these leather loafers. The mega market takes care of our money. Just imagine. Not only that, until the end of September, there is an increased cashback of up to 60% with thank you bonuses, with which you can pay up to 99% of the cost of your next purchase. Believe me, this is really so, because it happened that I literally made orders for a penny. So there will be even more bonuses for subscribers of Sberbank Prime and Sberbank Prime Plus. If you are ordering for the first time, do not forget to enter a promo code in the trend. It gives a discount of 1,000 rubles in the amount of 4,000 on goods from the categories of clothing, shoes, and accessories. Well, now that's it. I'm letting you update your autumn wardrobe at the mega market by clicking on the link in the description of the video. We start hard. The rebellious Angelina, prone to sociopathy, has been distinguished by a difficult character since childhood. The difficult divorce of her parents, serious mental problems of Angelina herself, and her self-doubt played a role in this. Although, it would seem, with such an appearance, how can you be insecure about yourself? After 7 years of marriage, Angelina's mother, unable to withstand her husband's endless infidelities, took the children, moved from Los Angeles to New York, and, after a while, filed for divorce. Marceline Bertrand failed to become widely known in the cinema, and as a result, she abandoned her dreams of a film career and devoted most of her life to children. Despite the divorce, the conflicts between the parents continued, and all because of alimony payments. And this also affected the impressionable Angelina. She saw the suffering of her mother, the detachment of her father. Because of this, she withdrew into herself, stopped studying normally, communicating with peers, and instead of playing with dolls, little Angelina imagined herself. Well, what do you think? By whom? And I'll tell you, the organizer of funeral ceremonies. This is the fantasy he had after 9-year-old Angie was taken to her grandfather's funeral. The girl was so fascinated by the mourning costumes, flowers on the grave, and mournful music, that she decided to devote herself to organizing all this. After the kind teachers, found out about Angelina's obsession with the afterlife theme, they decided to send her to a school psychologist who did not help her much, and instead of helping, simply wrote in her personal file that she was not balanced and prone to sociopathy. These are the cool school psychologists. In adolescence, Angelina's mental state worsened even more. At the beginning of the transition age, at the age of 11, when her mother decided to return to California, in parallel with studying at the prestigious Beverly Hills School, Angie began attending Lee Strasberg Film School. But because of the ridicule of classmates over her excessive thinness and plump, like African lips, she felt constrained and extremely insecure on stage. And once again, I'll just note how cruel children can be. And when he perceives a beautiful appearance as a disadvantage, it just doesn't cease to amaze me every time. Irina Shayk, for example, also, by the way, suffered from bullying as a child because of her plump lips. But I think that now Angelina and Irina's haters can easily bite off everything with their elbow. Angelina finally lost her self-confidence after her first attempts to become a model did not decrease in success. Angelina was losing weight hard for her cherished dream, did not eat, tried all possible diets. When the mother suspected that her daughter was too thin, she was taken to the doctor. In the clinic, Angelina was diagnosed with the initial stage of anorexia and the consequences. The terrifying consequences of this disease were described in detail. Over time, Angelina listened to the advice of doctors and still returned to a normal diet, but because of the morphophobia anorexia that had already developed at that time, she constantly felt unhappy, useless, dressed in black, began collecting knives, which, as punishment for failure, in an attempt to deserve her own pain, and carried injuries on her arms and chest. I was engaged, in short, in self-harm. By the age of 14, Jolie, in parallel with her studies at school, was already acting in music videos, continued to go to model auditions, and at the same time, the girl had already begun to live in a civil marriage with her boyfriend. The most interesting thing is that her mother insisted on it. After learning about the relationship of two teenagers, she preferred to give the lovers a room in her house, yes, instead of worrying about where they are doing all sorts of things under fences in the doorways. Well, let's say. Later, Jolie admitted that even falling in love and the first successes in her modeling career did not help her find the peace of mind that she was looking for, so she continued to injure herself, and subsequently even her partner. And she said that she started to study, well, to sleep in general with her boyfriend. But it seemed to her that these emotions were not enough, and wanting to get even closer, she began, well, to cut him and herself. And they were smeared with blood, and in short, it was extreme. It's creepy. It's creepy. And to imagine, if teenagers are doing this, it's even worse. In general, because of the regular State Farm, Angelina once got to the hospital when she accidentally touched the carotid artery. That is, she could have died. The doctors managed to save her in time. And after this incident, Jolie still visited a psychiatrist for some time. In addition to the fact that Angelina lived in a civil marriage with her boyfriend at the age of 14, there was a rumor that she slept with her mother's man at the age of 16. This incident is mentioned by British journalist Andrew Morton in an unofficial biography of the actress. Morton allegedly learned about this fact from some secret source. Angie herself did not comment on this rumor in any way. Either it was, and as it were, what happened, then passed, or, well, it makes sense, yes, to fuel rumors. And why refute complete nonsense? I'm interested in your opinion, by the way. Do you think it could have been in real life? Angelina's mental problems were compounded by an uneasy relationship with her father. Because of this, after she started earning good money, Angelina got hooked on illegal substances, and by her own admission, she tried everything until she was 20. Her consumption became tabloid fodder when, in a 98, her dealer released a video of Jolie pacing around the apartment after taking heavy substances. And anyway, in those years, Jolie often appeared at public events high. You can just watch her interview for the sake of interest and understand that she somehow swims a little. At some point in the Depression, the actress became so black that she was even going to pass away. She tried to do it twice, and the second time, even with the help of a killer. Jolie agreed with the killer to pay him in advance within a month. And when the case was nearing the finale, the killer managed to dissuade the actress from her decision. He told her that let's think a little more. If you change your mind, call me in a month. Well, as we all see, a month later Jolie's life plans changed, and, thank God, everything went well. In this dark time, the light at the end of the tunnel for Jolie was her work. Her brother, after graduating from film school, took up directing and invited his sister to participate in his experimental projects. Thus, How would he reawaken Angie's interest in acting? In parallel with participating in fashion shows, she also began acting in low-budget films. She started in short, from the bottom, despite the origin of her parents, despite their profession, despite the fact that, in fact, as if she were a NEPA baby. In 1995 year, Jolie agreed to play one of the main roles in a film about cyber war by a hacker. This project quickly became a cult, brought her first fame, the status of a rising Hollywood star. According to the New York Times Magazine, and acquaintance with her first official husband, British actor Johnny Lee Biller, who, by the way, played on The Needle, was supposed to play Jolie's lover, and their movie romance, as it often happens, continued in real life. A year later, they were married. They came to the wedding ceremony in non-standard suits, black leather pants and white t-shirts, on which they wrote each other's names in their own blood. Well, that is, Angelina has not forgotten her craving for biological fluids. In general, Johnny even helped her tie the taboo for a while. But, unfortunately, their relationship did not last long. A year later, the young people realized that they were complete opposites to each other, separated, and filed for divorce. They're a little later in the 99th year, and then Angelina had already met her next husband, but more on that later. In general, immediately after parting with Miller, Jolie had an affair with model and co-star in the film False Fire, Jenny Shimizu. This is an American model of Japanese origin. Well, a girl. After the breakup, Jenny repeatedly said that sometimes Jolie visits her and is now a close friend for her. It never occurred to me that I would ever be a woman out there kissing her. It was never what I wanted, said Jolie herself, who later confessed her bisexuality to Rolling Stones magazine in the 2001 year. She said that she just fell in love with a man, not paying attention to her gender. After the premiere of Hackers, Angie's career went uphill. In the 97th year, she played the wife of the ailing governor of Alabama in the miniseries George Volos, for which she was even awarded a Golden Globe. Then she took part in the drama Ja, dedicated to the biography of the supermodel of the 80s, J. Marie Kasha. By the way, there is another issue about her on the channel. In general, this film was a breakthrough for Angelina. It was after its release that she was talked about as one of the most popular and diverse young actresses. I really liked the film. I think that Angie managed to convey both Gia's violent temper and her tragedy with bitterness. Then this fall to the bottom, especially the scene in the hospice, is actually something that I couldn't watch without tears. It's such a tragedy. It's, well, really, that is, in all of this, you literally see an adaptation of the phrase that Jay took off so brightly, lit up so brightly, and went out so quickly, and, well, Angelina, of course, just stunningly performed her role. I strongly advise you to view it, right here. Be sure to add to your list of films that you definitely need to look at. So, and we're moving on to a somewhat sensitive, damn strange topic, but I can't help but touch on it. In general, in the 99th year, Jolie starred in the drama Interrupted Life. This work earned her a Screen Actors Guild Award, another Golden Globe, and an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Well, the actress was, of course, glad that her work was appreciated so highly, but she decided to throw out something like that, even at the presentation of one of the main cinematic awards. In general, on the red carpet after winning the Golden Globe, Jolie passionately kissed her older brother James on the lips. Shocking photos have spread all over the world. At the Vanity Fair party, after the Oscar ceremony, the brother and sister repeated their trick with a kiss. More than once, they had to explain themselves for their strange gestures of love. She was going to go to Mexico to finish shooting a movie with Antonio Banderas. I congratulated her on winning the Oscar and gave her a quick kiss on the lips. This moment got into the photo and became a big event, Angelina's brother James said later in an interview with Entertainment Tonight. But the photos, to be honest, are very, very strange. In general, rumors about their unnatural relationship circulated for a long time, and it seems to me that they, in fact, were not averse to adding fuel to the fire themselves. On the internet you can find a lot of photos of Angie and James kissing in different locations, and I can't imagine what. Like that they are brother and sister. It smacks of Game of Thrones, if you know what I mean. And we turn to the marriage business. Angie was growing up and decided to go down the aisle for the second time. In general, on the set of the film, while flying, she had an affair with on-screen partner Billy Bob Thornton. The couple was widely discussed due to their age difference of 20 years, as well as due to the fact that at that time Thornton was engaged to actress Laura Dern. Angelina believed that Billy Bob was her soulmate. The engagement was nonsense, It was all earthly. The lovers secretly got married in a small church in Las Vegas. Instead of rings, they exchanged clones, like gnomes with what? Of course, with blood. They got tattoos with each other's names, and were going to stay together until the grave. They, of course, showed their emotions very violently, constantly shocked the audience with their frank antics, did not hesitate in public kisses, some gestures in public, were happy to share details of their personal lives with journalists. But the idyll in the relationship lasted until Jolie got to Cambodia. There her personality completely changed. In the 2001 year, the actress played the main role in the action-adventure Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, I Love Him. Filming of some scenes took place in Cambodia, where at that time there was a civil war. And, by the way, returning to Angie's addictions, during the filming of Lara Croft, she was forced to undergo substance tests every day, well, as if in the footsteps of her former glory. But Angie coped with the tests, and Cambodia herself shocked her so much that it turned her life around forever. Angie began to actively engage in charitable activities, participate in humanitarian missions, and, most importantly, wanted to adopt a child. This desire caused a strange reaction from the actress' father, John Voight, who, it would seem, should have supported her. He decided that she was some kind of hysterical. She needed to see a therapist, and in general she had some problems with her head. But in response to this, outraged Angelina, rightly outraged, immediately stopped all attempts to establish relations with her father, officially removed his name from her documents, and said that she had nothing more to do with this person. In the 2002 year, Jolie became a goodwill ambassador for humanitarian affairs, visited Cambodia again, and adopted a little boy whom she named Maddox. Maddox is the last child I saw. He was asleep. They gave him to me in my arms, and he didn't wake up. When he opened his eyes, he smiled. I burst into tears and felt that this child had chosen me, Angelina said. However, it was the child who served as the reason for breaking off relations with Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob was not ready to raise an adopted son, and their life priorities began to differ. Apparently, he wanted parties, passion, humanitarian activities were alien to him, and in general, they became strangers to each other. And how would she choose a child, which is generally understandable? In the 2003 year, the couple divorced. Jolie said that she no longer needed a man to be happy, since she now has everything she dreamed of. Yes, a child, a job in the cinema. She is self-sufficient and fuck it. These men have given up. However, just a year later, the actress regained her status as a bad girl when, while working on the thriller Taking Lives, she twisted one long, but nevertheless affair with Ethan Hawke, and thereby destroyed his long-term relationship with actress Uma Thurman, with whom, by the way, they even have a child. In the 2005 year, according to the same scheme on the set of the action movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we already knew the continuation of Angelina seemed to have taken away, and, it would seem, a happy marriage, and a happy relationship with Jennifer Aniston Brad Pitt, after which she seemed to calm down for 12 years. But here we run a little ahead. In the fall of the 22nd year, the news spread all over the world media that Angelina, at the beginning of a relationship with a married Brad Pitt, specifically tipped off journalists to the place of their date, so that the paparazzi photographed them, and thereby started the process of Brad's separation from Jennifer Aniston. Well, against the background of the scandal, that's all. That is, if this is true, then, of course, women's cunning knows no bounds. But again, I am of the opinion that a man is not goats on strings, so if a person does not want to, it is impossible to take him away. In general, the fact that Jolie allegedly ordered paparazzi there was told by the co-founder of the Rolling Stones, John Boner, who at that time owned part of the stock of the tabloid S. Vickley, which published exclusive issues. Jolie has always maintained that she did not break up Pete and Aniston's marriage. She would never have met a married man there, or with a man in a relationship, knowing that he would cheat on his wife. Well, here you know, apparently, Bob Thornton was shot down by Ethan Hawke. The story was different. And the relationship with Brad Pitt. In her relationship with Pete, Angie, well, it would seem, yes, found harmony in herself. Brad dreamed of a big family, children, and fully shared the values of the actress. He adopted Maddox. He became actively involved in charity work, and was happy to accompany his wife on humanitarian missions. On one of these trips, the couple decided to adopt an Ethiopian girl, Zahara, and it soon became clear that Angelina was pregnant. In the 2006 year, Pete and Jolie had a daughter, Shyla. They sold the first pictures of the child to journalists for $10 million. Well, they gave all the money they got to charity. In the 2007 year, the actors adopted another boy, Paxthene, and soon the twins Knox Leon and Vivian Marcelline were born. For 12 years of living together, Brangelina, as this couple was called, was bred and measured there countless times. Various reasons were called, and jealousy on the part of Angelina for Pete's wife, and vice versa, and that Jennifer Aniston allegedly put sticks in their wheels there. Brad helped Angelina cope with the fear of death, with her depression, with her unstable mental state, because after the death of her mother from cancer, Angelina became very much, in general, afraid of death. Got, if it can be said, donatophobia. In the 2013 year, Angelina decided to have an operation to remove the mammary glands, uterus and ovaries, because of the high risk of developing oncological diseases of these organs. And again, the faithful husband stayed by her side and supported her. Beth Angelina got married in 2012 year on the initiative of the children, but 4 years later, their union broke up. At first, the official reason was called the standard irreconcilable relations there, and then the mud began to fall. Then she, Angelina, announced about Pete's alcoholism, about his abuse of children. What really happened remains a mystery to this day. Maybe their children will tell us this. In general, it is obvious that the divorce caused Angelina a huge trauma, and she literally went to war on her ex-husband, so that he suffered as much as she did. The stumbling block was, of course, custody of children, as is often the case in such cases. Jolie insisted on sole custody, and Pete, of course, resisted and filed a counterclaim. As a result, the litigation dragged on for several years, and in the end, it is extremely clear that over the past years, Angelina's delirium regularly had to visit a court-appointed psychologist, listen to the testimony of witnesses, doctors, and numerous experts at closed meetings. Angelina was ready to do anything to prevent any indulgences for her ex-husband, including even the children, whom Angelina, it would seem, was so eager to protect from pain and injury, were called to the examination chair. The lengthy litigation of the once most beautiful Hollywood star couple ended only in the 21st year, but again, I repeat, the dirt is still pouring. The police and the FBI completely cleared Pete of domestic violence charges, and the court recognized his right to co-parenting. Well, as we see now, the children there in general are rapidly abandoning his last name. I think that, of course, divorce proceedings are the dirtiest lawsuits. They can last for a long time, 4 years. When the spouses inflicted some psychological trauma on each other, I don't know when they offended each other. Therefore, to be honest, I have a feeling that some memoir 1 or 2 is waiting for us, given, as I have already said, that children refuse to use the name of delirium. And then, you know, some say that Angelina is setting the children up against their father. And someone says that the children have just started talking. In general, write in the comments what you think about this divorce. Who is right? Who is to blame? Well, let's briefly return to the current state of Angelina's public image. In the 22nd year, she resigned as a goodwill ambassador. In the 20 years since her appointment to this position, she has managed to work in an Afghan refugee camp in Pakistan, founded schools for girls in Kenya, and opened a wildlife protection fund in the Kalahari Desert. After retiring, if I may say so, the actress does not intend to stop doing charity work, and I am sure that she will make many more cool light projects. Of course, speaking about what projects Angelina is currently engaged in, that she was a goodwill ambassador for 20 years. It's hard to imagine at all. It's difficult, more precisely, to compare it with the Angelina who was there more than 20 years ago. What she was like. This, of course, is a titanic work she has done on herself. And I would like to say a huge thank you, probably, to her and those people close to her who still influenced her. It's true, it doesn't happen to every actor, actress, and artist in general. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, to my Telegram channels in the description, and see you in the new issue. Bye bye.